Today we're going to do a little brain surgery on the Miata. We're going to install a standalone ECU. A Megasquirt MS3 Pro to be exact, and it's easier than you think. So why would you want to go with a standalone ECU? Well, the factory ECU does a pretty good job of dealing with changes in atmospheric and driving conditions. It uses a mass airflow sensor to measure the incoming air. Unfortunately, mass airflow sensors don't do such a great job with dealing with the large increases of air that you get from things like forced induction, big cams, or ported heads. Also, a standalone ECU will allow us to manually tune the fuel and ignition tables. The new ECU uses the speed density principle to measure air and deliver fuel and spark. It uses a MAP, or manifold absolute pressure sensor, in conjunction with an intake air temperature sensor to measure airflow. We'll also be using a wideband O2 sensor to see how well that air-fuel mixture is being burned. The MAP sensor will allow us to tune for upgrades like forced induction, ITBs, or bigger cams in the future. Stick around, we'll show you how we do it. Before we get started, we need to check the base ignition timing for the Miata. It doesn't matter if we're a little bit off, but we'll need to be able to give that information to the Megasquirt when we start tuning. If it's really far off, we'll need to loosen the bolts on the cam angle sensor and either advance or retard the timing. The cam angle sensor is on the exhaust camshaft for the 1.8 Miatas and on the intake camshaft for the 1.6 Miatas. To check the timing, we're going to use a timing gun. We're going to attach the positive electrode to our alternator and the negative electrode to any good ground. Then we're going to place the clamp on the spark plug wire for cylinder 1. We're going to start the engine, let it reach operating temperature, and then aim the gun at the crank pulley and take our measurement. Before we work on the electrical system, it's always a good idea to disconnect the negative terminal on your battery. Once you let the smoke out, it's hard to get it back in. Let's get the old ECU out of the car. We're going to give ourselves some more room to work by removing the passenger seat and the glove box.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Now we need to route the vacuum hose for the MAP sensor. The MAP sensor determines how much air is entering the engine so the ECU can calculate how much fuel to add. We're going to tap into one of the existing fittings on our intake manifold. This car doesn't have AC, so we can route the vacuum hose through one of the plugs in the firewall into the passenger footwell. From there, we can run the line under the carpet next to the factory wiring harness. Alright, now we just have to get everything connected and mount it using the provided sheet metal screws. Now we're going to install a wideband oxygen sensor and controller. The factory sensor can only measure a very narrow band of AFRs, hence the name, narrow band O2 sensor. The wideband O2 sensor will allow us to measure a much wider range of AFRs and tune with more precision. We're going to be using a Spartan 3 Lite due to its simplicity and reputation. We're going to reuse the factory O2 harness and wire it up like this. I'll put a link to the plug kit that I used in the description below. Let's get the old sensor out and the new one in. All right, the wideband's in the car. I still have a few decisions to make, like how I want to permanently mount it. It's supposed to do pretty well with the high temps you see in an engine bay, but I may want to also add some heat shielding around it to protect it. The ECU is in, we have our vacuum line ran from the engine bay to the map sensor, and we have our wideband controller installed. On the next episode, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to switch to an NB style throttle body, create a custom intake, and hopefully get this thing fired up. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them below in the comments. Be kind, and remember, if I can do it, so can you. Pretty good.